Dave Palumbo here with an RXMuscle news update, and I'm joined by our good friend Neil Hill, contest prep coach extraordinaire. Neil, welcome to the show.
Hey Dave, hi guys. Hope you guys and girls are appreciating and enjoying the content that Dave is putting on his socials and his outlets on a daily, weekly basis. You guys are very fortunate at home because obviously Dave shares a lot of topics and obviously what's taking place in the industry. So I appreciate jumping on here again with you, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Now, Neil, you had texted me after you saw the William Bonac interview go up that we did a little earlier today, and William had made some statements that you didn't agree with, and you asked me if you could come on and clarify some stuff. And so, of course, I like to give both sides the ability to speak. I had asked William about what had happened between you guys and why you guys left, and we kind of knew the initial crazy rant he had gone on originally. He kind of said he overreacted, but he did say and suggest that you had been doing some business dealings behind his back. You want to address that a little bit?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, there has never been one time that William has ever said anything to me of any concern or any conspiracy or anything underlying in any way whatsoever with what he suggested, other than one time, which was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And he actually didn't accuse me. What happened is that William and myself were overseas at an event called the Loaded Cup. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't remember exactly what country it was, and I was there with William. Mm. And basically, there was some form of arrangement which took place as far as William's fees are concerned. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, remember, I was William's prep coach. I was also William's manager. Gotcha. So what does that mean? That meant that I manage everything to do with William. That meant that I manage his travel, his accommodation, his contracts, anything to do with basically allowing him to concentrate on his work, which Gotcha. Is basically being a bodybuilder. And then on top of that, I was his prep coach. Every single event that I traveled around the world with William, I paid for my flights. I paid for my accommodation. There was times where I actually paid for William's flights and accommodation, which was not part of our agreement. That's not part of the agreement.
Sure. And he did suggest that. He did suggest, I think you paid for a few hotel rooms. Yeah.
And let me just say this as well. Our agreement that we had when we started working together 6 years ago had changed 2 or 3 separate times. I'll go through that. But I can remember that there was an exchange of money that William was getting from the promoter. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about an incident which was 5 or 6 years ago. So honestly, as I sit here now, that's so far in the background, I can't even remember exactly what it was or what happened. Yeah. But somewhere along the line is William or this promoter had said that I was given money and I took money, or I didn't give money for William, or whatever it was. It was something to do with money, okay? Mm-hmm. And when I spoke to William and I addressed this, it was fine, because I explained what happened. Now, he didn't accuse me saying, hey, you took my money. It was like, no, it wasn't that. And it was definitely to do with a payment of some kind. What it was, what happened, Dave? It's so long ago, I generally can't remember what happened, all right? But let me just say this live in front of everybody. There has never been a time that I had a double contract, a double deal going on with anyone whatsoever, as far as a sponsor, whether it's a guest appearance, on a personal level, no one. So whatever incident William was indirectly referring to, you're talking about something which is 5 or 6 years ago, and there was just a misunderstanding. And what that was, Dave, I can't remember. It's too long ago because it was spoken about, it was dealt with, and it's done. It's like that was something which was many years ago.
Right, but you were making good money back then, and William, I guess, was making very little money back then. So maybe in his mind it was a big deal that he was supposed to get paid, and maybe he didn't get paid. Maybe you just forgot. I don't know. I mean, is that a possibility?
No, it wasn't, because let's talk about from the very beginning. when I met William 6-7 years ago, all right, he wasn't working, or if he was earning very, very, very little money. And also, William wasn't living in an ideal environment, okay? When we started working together, the deal was, okay, listen, I'll prep you for free. I'm not going to charge you for my coaching time, okay? I'm going to take 20% of your prize money, and I'm going to take 20% of your bonus money. And he turned around and said, but I don't have a sponsor, and I've never won any prize money. I said, William, it's okay. Leave that to me. So I spoke to a number of different companies that I have personal relationships with and said, guys, listen, I have a new athlete. He's got so much potential out there. Please take this athlete on, because I really believe this guy is going to be a phenomenal bodybuilder. He's going to be a work in progress. He needs nurturing. And basically, that's what happened. Every single sponsor that William had when we were together, I negotiated their contracts. Now, you might say, Neil, you had a hidden agenda. No, I didn't have a hidden agenda.
Because, you wanted to get paid,
Okay, because let's just break this down, okay? Every single dime, dollar, cent, euro that William was paid on a monthly fee for his salary, I never took anything, ever, from day one. Never. I only got paid when William placed on stage. So if William placed and he won prize money, okay, he would get bonus money in relationship to his places.
Gotcha.
Okay, so if William placed and he won $10,000, okay, prize money, he would give me $2,000 because I would take 20% of his prize money. If he got then $3,000 bonus, then I would take 20% of his $3,000, okay? And that doesn't equate to 40%, Dave.
No.
Now, let me just ask you a question. I want you to be very honest here.
Okay.
Have you seen any shows where you've seen William Bonac compete and you felt that he deserved or could have deserved to place better? Only a simple question.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, this is my opinion. There were quite a few shows that I felt that William should have or could have placed better in. All right. And what does that mean? I'm watching, I'm in the sideline, I'm looking at these athletes, and I'm looking at him thinking, this guy is getting overlooked. Now, okay, so there was a lot of shows that William didn't get any prize money. He got no bonus. Why? Because he didn't place. Who paid for my flights and my accommodation to travel? I did.
Gotcha. So you were gambling, is what you're saying. You were gambling on him doing well.
So what I'm saying to you is that there was no hidden agenda here.
No wonder why you were so pissed that he didn't win the Arnold last year.
No. But the truth is, do you know what I was? I don't know what I was upset about last year's Arnold, and I had this conversation with William because William was very upset and very hurt about not winning because he lost $55,000. Okay.
You lost 20% of that.
Okay. No. Do you know what I was upset about? I was upset because no amount of money can buy that title. Okay, that's what I'm upset about, Dave. It's not the money. Okay, you might say, yes, it was. No, it wasn't. The whole time after the show, William kept on saying, I lost $55,000. They fucked me. $55,000. They stole from me. And I heard this lots and lots of times. And I said to William, listen, let's just concentrate on next year's show. 2 weeks time. You can win the Arnolds. You can win the Arnolds in Australia. So just concentrate on that because you can get that money back. Or you just want me to win because it makes you look good, and you just want me to win because you get extra money. It's like, hang on a minute. I haven't mentioned money one single time. You're the person who's upset because you lost the 55,000. That's what I haven't mentioned one single time about money. It was never brought into a conversation at any time. And anyone who really knows me will know that it's not a money-orientated thing. And let me just say this on behalf of William. William was never, ever, ever late paying me, ever. All right? He was very forthcoming. He would pay me once he had his prize money. He would pay me when he got his bonus money. And there was never one time. And even William could come on here and say, do you know what, coach, you're right. There were so many times where William said, Neil, I got to pay you. I said, William, don't worry about the money. Listen, keep it. Put it towards the house. You've got a baby coming. Look, there'll be more shows. No, I got to pay you. I don't want to feel like I'm owing you. I said, William, you don't owe me anything. It's okay. Listen, just use that money for other things. It's okay. Because for me, it wasn't the motivational factor. Now, you might say to me, well, why was it then that you had a deal where you were taking 20% of his prize money and 20% of his bonus money from day one? Because I was taking a calculated risk on my time and my efforts and my experience. And let's just still break this down. I was managing William and I was coaching William. Okay, how many coaches manage their athletes? There's not a many.
I think you're nuts to do it, but I understand he had nothing when you first started with him.
Okay, but you know what? He doesn't owe me anything, but I don't owe William anything either. We came together. I felt that we collaborated and we did really, really well. And what I'm upset about today is that William made some very bold statements online. So let's go back to what he said a number of months ago. He said that I take 40%, I take 20% of his, no, he said he takes 40% of my prize money plus my bonus. He said it multiple times. All right. I never took 40% of his prize money. All right. I took 20% of his prize money and I took 20% of his bonus money.
Which isn't 40%, right? I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually fabricated, and that was a lie straight away, all right? And I don't have to prove it because we all know what William said was untrue. Now, whether he's blatantly lying because he's trying to show a bad light on me, or whether he said it just in the heat of the moment and he inaccurately said something which was inaccurate, it's probably more like that. But my point is, he still went on to a public forum and he lied and he trash talked me, and the things that he said were not true. Now, remember, after 3 years of me and William working together, he said to me, hey, coach, do you mind if I don't give you the 20% bonus? He said, because listen, I'm trying to think about my future. I said, William, it's fine. No problem. That's fine. You don't have to give me that. Now, what happened is that for the first 2 to 3 years of me and William working together, it was a rough ride, meaning that, we had to work really hard to draw the attention and get the respect to get decent places on stage. So what happened is prize money was going up. So I was happy that my return was going down because indirectly it kind of levered itself off. Okay. All right. Then what happened last year, I have the contract here right in front of me, which was signed on June the 20th, 2019. This was a contract and a deal that I suggested to William. So let's go back to 2019 when William was under contract to me, where he was paying me only 20% of his prize money, nothing else.
Right.
I suggested he reduce that to 10%. And we agreed on 10%, Dave.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
It's in contract. It's here, black and white. And William knows this. Okay. So I would like to feel that I've always been forthcoming and I've always considered William's future and I've always been mindful. And the truth is anyone who's really in his circle will know that I always had his best interests at heart. I always wanted him to be happy and healthy and not do reckless things. And William never did reckless things. That's one of the reasons why William looks so clean and healthy, because we never did reckless things. Right. And it shows in his physique. Okay. Did I see a monetary return? Yes, but Dave, think about all the tens of thousands of dollars that I funded on travels, accommodation over the years that I never got anything from. Right. Now, the very first Olympia that William competed in. Okay, let's go back to the very first show. The very first show me and William did together. You were sitting right in front of me with Chris Aceto to your left or right-hand side. He stepped on stage at the Australian Grand Prix at the time. Yep. And the truth is, he could have won that show. Yeah. Now, Sean Roden won that show, but let's be honest, it could have been first or second. It was very close. All right? That made a statement, and there was a big difference in William's physique from that show to the shows that you saw in the year before. Why? Because I felt that we worked really, really well together. All right? From there, he went on to compete in other shows, and he won a number of shows. He qualified. He went on to his first Mr. Olympia. And William didn't make the top 15. And I honestly felt that if he would have been compared against certain athletes, I honestly feel that he could have possibly been in the top 10. But he never got a shout. But it's okay. We went back to the groundworks and we worked really hard. The following year, he comes back. And if I remember, he came 8th or 7th. I felt that he should have been 6th or could have been 6th. The following year, he comes back. And he comes 3rd. Well, I felt that he probably deserved second. And I think that, but remember, this is not me being vindictive or disrespectful or calling any judges out. Remember, I'm just giving you an honest opinion.
Well, you know how bodybuilding works. Yeah, you know how bodybuilding works, though. Come on.
So it's not personal about anyone. And I'm simply looking at him as a bodybuilder. The following year, we come back and we didn't bring the best to the stage. William came 4th. He could have been anywhere between 3rd and 4th, okay, but he came 4th. Let's fast forward. This year he comes on stage, and I was disappointed with what I saw on stage, and I'll tell you why.
At the Arnold, where he placed second?
No. I felt that he should have won the Arnolds.
I actually
felt that he was a very solid first placer, and I'll tell you why.
Did you like that look? I told him I thought it was his best look ever.
Well, you don't need to answer that because I'll go back to that.
Okay.
All right. He went on to Olympia this year, and he came 2nd, and he just looked super flat and empty, really flat. Yes, he was conditioned, Dave, but he looked very empty, and unfortunately, William has to have that fullness to really, draw that attention. The guy is such an incredible bodybuilder. I'm a massive fan of William Bonac's physique, okay? I am never going to change my opinion on this guy's physique, and I know how hard he works in the gym.
Right.
So I have the utmost respect. I know how hard he diets. I know his work ethic. So listen, I have all of the respect for William.
Sure.
What I was disappointed with is that even though he was super lean, he was super flat and he looked empty. And I was upset and disappointed because I felt you could have won this show. All right? You could have won the show.
Now, you think he would have won the show with your guidance?
100%. However, 100% other than maybe, and I'm going to defend William, maybe the reason William was looking empty was because he talked about he had an injury. Now, I don't know if he had an injury, Dave, all right? But he spoke about the fact that he had an injury. And maybe that injury had a part to play with him not being as full as he could. Now, at the end of the day, that fullness that he lost was due to either over-dieting or under-eating or over-drying out.
Or both.
Or over-drying out. So what I'm saying to you is that it's not necessarily down to the fact that he wasn't training, but maybe it could have been. There's many factors, but at the same time, he brought a great physique to the stage. But I was really sad and upset because I felt, man, you could have won that show.
Because Curry was off. I mean, Curry was not as good as he was at the Arnold's. We know that.
No, he was. He just looked empty. He just looked like a smaller version. And yes, William was conditioned, but he didn't have the same rock hardness and pop because he was empty, Dave. And you don't have to be an expert here. You can see what happened, all right? Do I feel that if I was prepping him for this year's Olympia, he would have won? 100%. However, let me just give some praise to William here and his team, okay? If the injury was the reason why he wasn't able to bring the best of him, it doesn't matter who was prepping him, whether it was me, whether it was George, whether it was Chris, or whether it was self.
Right.
You're working with circumstances which are out of your control to a certain point. So I'm not dragging that William down and bashing him. Let's go back to the Arnold. The Arnold look to me was phenomenal. You said that you felt that was one of his best looks.
Yep.
What did William do? William indirectly was saying, wasn't good enough, I wasn't happy. Because do you know why? William is never happy. Even when he's 110%, he's not happy. He always expects more and he always wants more. And my point is this, listen, sometimes you cannot better perfection.
Right.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you're your best and you lose. It just happens, unfortunately.
And I felt that the look that William brought to the Arnolds last year it's sensational. I said to him many times, I felt this was our best package, because you spoke about the fact that you felt his best look was the Olympia that he came 3rd. I disagree. I felt that his best look was probably the Arnold last year, 2019, or the Arnold in 2018, because even though that look, I think it was 2017, was it, whatever, that look that he came third in,
Right.
he had that, like, we had that really crazy fullness, but he had that little bit more detail in the Arnolds that he did. The first Arnold he won, and the second last year where he came second. So between those Arnolds that he's done where he won, he came second, and the Olympia, I feel those are possibly our three best looks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was just signaling to my my producer here to put something up.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to put some pictures up to show it.
So what I'm upset about is that, you know, William went onto a public forum. He lied. He said I was taking 40% of his prize money when I never did. He said I was taking 20, you know, and then he mentioned his bonuses. Understand, guys, I took 20% of William's bonus money and 20% of his prize money for the first 3 years. I never once ever took any of his salaries in any way whatsoever. Okay? If William didn't place, I didn't get paid. I still had to fund my travel, my accommodation, my time, all of these things. So understand, I lost tens and tens of thousands of dollars doing this for the first couple of years. Me and William never spoke about the frustration about me losing money. You know, it was never a thing for me. So for him then to come on here and make accusations that I was doing double dealings, no, I can say this in front of everybody now. There has never been one time that I did double deal, something behind his back, took money behind his back, did something unjustified in any way whatsoever. So why William would even say that? And if that was the case, and I spoke about that one time that he questioned me on something like 5 years ago, then why is it that you didn't step away with me after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Because if it was an issue to you, then why is it you allowed this to take place?
Right.
Why is it like we're in this situation? I can talk about a lot of things that I found frustrating working with William in multiple different areas, but you know what? This isn't the place to talk about them. And
well, you wanted to just clarify that what William said wasn't exactly accurate, except there was one instance where something might have happened that you don't remember. That's the story pretty much, right?
Well, the story is this. I never took money from William behind his back, double deal something, stole from him, because indirectly that's exactly what he was applying, and that never took place at one time. And the last thing that I want to address is that, you know, William said, yeah, and I heard he was saying things about me, you know, me living in a shithole. Hang on a minute. Let's just say this. Let's go back to his rant.
He's still living in the shithole, by the way.
Okay,
yeah.
So he spoke about, this is my shithole, this is how I live. This is how I live. You know, this is my shithole. It's like, hold on a minute. I stayed at William's house many times. Was it the cleanest house? No. Was it the tidiest house? No. But you know what? It doesn't matter. That's his home. Okay? That's his palace. How you decide to live inside your palace is up to you. It doesn't make any difference if you have a home which is rented and it's in the slums, or whether it's worth $500,000, $2 million. If you don't wish to clean and tidy and fix your carpets and your curtains, what has that got to do with me? That's not my responsibility. So when he made it public and said, this is my shithole, all right, I said, yeah, he does live in a shithole. However, not at any point, Dave, did I go around saying that or even wording it like that before me and William had our issues between each other. Because you know what? I enjoyed my time when I stayed at his house. Yeah. And William was always very forthcoming, made me feel welcome in the same way that I made him feel welcome when he stayed with me. Yeah. But our homes has nothing to do with anything.
Sure.
You know, and then on top of that, he did
say that he overreacted a little bit, and he did say that he went a little crazy on social media. So in essence, he did. And look, he was dieting for the show, and so I understand sometimes you lose your mind. You say crazy stuff. So he did admit he overreacted a little bit, but I understand what you're saying. You're just explaining that you didn't do the things that he was indirectly accusing you of doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I shouldn't. That's enough.
Yeah, you don't have to defend it any more than that. I mean, that's I believe you. You know, like I said, there's no reason for you to lie. I mean, you've been pretty forthright with everything else you said.
You know, so this isn't, a personal thing for me and William. It's a shame because we had some, we had some really great moments, and it was amazing to share some of these great moments with William. I'm very, very proud of what he's achieved on stage.
Sure.
I'm very proud how he has become a better pro and understands that it's not just about being professional on stage. You have to be a professional off stage. And I genuinely wish him and his family all the very, very best.
Well, Neil, will Bonac win the Arnold, in your opinion?
Well, if anyone watches any of my live Instagrams, I've made it public constantly over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks that William will be a convincing winner in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, that's a pretty bold statement.
Where do I see the threats coming from? The threats are going to come from Ramy if Ramy finally sorts his shit out and gets into shape. Okay.
Right. So you haven't heard from Ramy at all, have you?
No,
okay.
No, I haven't heard from Ramy. Would I like to see Ramy bring the best? Yeah, not because I want him to beat William, because I think the whole world wants to see the best version of everybody.
Of course.
Yes. So I want to see the best version of Ramy, but it's going to have to be pretty special to be able to compete against William.
Right.
Another threat. And again, it comes down to consistency. Is Cedric McMillan going to nail his condition? Because the guy is just such a phenomenal bodybuilder that structurally, he is a better bodybuilder than William. However, that is not going to be enough to beat William Bonac if you're not 100%, okay?
Yeah.
Then you've got a real threat again coming from the likes of Lionel Baliki. And this guy is a threat. However, he's just like Cedric. He's so inconsistent with his conditioning. Are we going to see that consistency?
Yeah.
So the real threats on that title for William are going to come from Ramy. They're going to come from
and Dexter, of course, Cedric. Is always a threat.
And Dexter, and I'm not taking anything away from Dexter, but I know the type of person William is. You know, he said he's stubborn. Yeah, he is stubborn, man. You know, maybe he's too stubborn in some ways. But at the same time, he works hard. And at the end of the day, listen, I just want to see the best guy win on stage.
Absolutely.
And I really hope that William wins this year, because I felt he should have won last year.
Yeah, me too.
And not because of $55,000, and not because I was going to get an extra bonus or I was going to get money, or because, listen, I see the sacrifices, but I also remember the sacrifices on both parts here, Dave. You're a prep coach. You know what it's like to take the responsibility and the heat and the pressure. So for me, I was upset because I saw on stage. I was there. I felt that he was the best athlete on stage. And if anyone listened to my live broadcast that I did at the Olympia with Sean Ray during the finals, I brought up and I picked up. Go back and listen to my commentary. I brought up. I said, I don't know if William's got an injury, but it looks like he's got atrophy taking place on his left leg. There's something going on there.
I didn't know you pointed that out. So maybe he did have the injury. He did say that.
Yeah, and I saw it. I didn't hear anything. I saw it straight away. All right. But at the wrap up, when they were asking before the places, they said, "Hey Neil, who do you think?" I said, I'd have William winning this. Even though William wasn't the best, I still had William winning the Olympia.
Right.
However, do I think it's an unfair decision for Brandon? No, because it's a different physique. Do I think it would have been unfair if Hadi would have won? No, because it was a different physique. Do I think that it would have been unfair for William? No, there's three athletes, all totally different, and it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I agree.
And those three athletes are amazing athletes. And I'm just going to finish off with this. William, whatever's happened between you and I, it's past. It's over. I have never taken from you. I have never stole from you. I've never been dishonest. So whatever you're thinking, you need to push that aside and start thinking really clearly. Whatever's been said to you, you need to question it. Because I can sit here in front of the world and yet again have to defend myself for no reason and say, I have never done anything disrespectful and said something disrespectful and been untrue or whatever. It's never taken the place. I'm a white type of person. I'm very straight. It's just the way I am, and I'm not going to change.
Right.
I'm not going to change. I love William's physique. I'm a massive fan. And this year, going into 2020, it is going to be probably the best Mr. Olympia we've seen for such a long time, because there are 5 or 6 guys who can win that title, and William Bonac is one of them. One of those athletes.
Very bold statement. You're a very honest shooter, and very bold statement from you, Neil Hill. Neil, I got to tell you, I'm looking at those arms. Your arms are looking pretty big in that shirt there. What's going on?
Well,
You making a comeback?
It's the shirt, buddy. That actually looks smoother.
Neil, thank you so much for joining us, for clarifying that point, and for giving us your insight into last year's Arnold, the Olympia, and of course the upcoming Arnold Classic. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Neil, and once again, I want to thank you for just taking some time out of your schedule.
Okay, I just want to wish all the athletes which are going into the Arnold, obviously in just over 2 weeks' time, all the very best. I know it's going to be a stacked lineup in all the different divisions. I'm super looking forward to being there with my athletes, and also just to be able to sit down and watch the show. And let me just say this again. I'm a massive fan of William Bonac's physique. I really hope that he wins this year's show. And I'm looking forward to, yet again, witnessing some amazing bodybuilding in Columbus, Ohio. Appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you, Neil. And that will take us to the end of another episode of RX Muscle's News Update. I'm Dave Palumbo with Neil Hill. We'll see you next time.